My future spouse messaged, "The ceremony is cancelled. We are done." I simply replied, "Understood." Following that, I showed their relatives a concealed file on their personal computer. Instantly, they became frantic for a truce. I, a 29-year-old man, had been scheduled to tie the knot next month. The crucial word there is was. Just last Tuesday, as I was at my workplace managing a major system failure, my device vibrated. It was a text from Alara, my betrothed of a year and a half. "We must speak." Actually, no. I'm through with conversing. The wedding is called off. It's finished. I'll be at my sister's residence. Just like that. No rationale, no exchange of words. After 5 years partnered, I texted back a single word, "Understood." Then I returned to mending the troubled system. My colleague, Leo, inquired if I was all right. Evidently, I appeared eerily composed. I informed him that my engagement had just terminated through a text message. He nearly choked on his energy drink. Here's the detail Alara was unaware of. Her portable computer was still at our shared dwelling. The one she invariably neglected to properly sign out of. The very one containing the directory labeled celebration preparations that I'd never examined because, well, I had faith in her. Prying is a peculiar force when your existence is shattered. Inside that directory, inside that primary directory were subsidiaries, options for the gathering place, notions for the attire, and exit protocols. Yes, exit protocols. That directory had been established 8 cycles ago. Within it were advertisements for different residences, applications for employment in various locations across the nation, and a detailed ledger. A ledger calculating the exact sum of resources she could extract from our shared existence. This included my personal accumulations that she could access. She had already relocated the equivalent of $15,000. The projected worth of present she intended to claim. There was even a field for psychological distress recompense. She believed she could secure from my relatives. But the ultimate find was the draft messages addressed to someone named Kieran. Evidently, Kieran was a genuine counterpart, identified through a cosmic matching service. They had been corresponding for 6 months. She was intending to depart immediately following the wedding ceremony. She wanted the gifts, the spotlight, the celebration, and then intended to bolt to commence her authentic life path. With her crystal-mending Kieran in Etheria Springs, I sat there, observing messages, where she referred to me as her security, cushion and the dull alternative, where she elaborated on using our nuptials as a springboard for her fresh commencement. She even joked about how I'd never anticipate it, because I was excessively credulous and routine. Routine. Fine. I created duplicates of every file. Then, I uncapped a drink and began placing some communications. Initial report, goodness, this has become significant. To address frequent inquiries, yes, this situation is legitimate. No, I am not fine, but I am functional. Yes, I have secured legal counsel now. So, after uncovering Alara's exit strategy, I performed exactly what any predictable technical expert would do. I devised my own ledger. The first communication was to my friend who specializes in visual documentation. I contacted him and requested a favor, to assemble a high-quality visual narrative, for the sake of past occurrences. I assured him I would compensate him at his usual charge. My second communication was with the site manager for the celebration. I explained the circumstance. The director, Celeste, was unexpectedly supportive. "Dear, after 2 decades, I've witnessed a variety of scenarios, but this is an original one," she commented. She explained that the initial payments were typically non-recoverable, but because my financial instrument was the one on record, she moved the booking entirely under my authority. She even extended an offer to assist if I required anything further. The third communication was to Alara's mother, Vivian. Now, Vivian is a decent soul, traditional, a firm believer in principles, dedication, and similar values. I informed her that Alara had cancelled the upcoming wedding and that while I respected her choice, I felt she should understand the underlying reason. I told her I would visit their home the following day with some documents. Alara had forgotten. That evening, Alara's sibling, Kira, began aggressively contacting my phone. Allegedly, Alara was navigating her personal path and required time to recover from my restrictive demeanor. This restrictive demeanor translates to me working intensive shifts so Alara could focus on her creative endeavors. She had managed to sell only 3 pieces of artwork in 24 months. My response was, understood. Her personal possessions will be boxed up by the end of the week. Kira texted back, you cannot simply expel her. She has legal protection. My reply, the rental agreement is solely in my name. Legally, she is entitled to 30 days. I am granting her until the close of the week as an act of goodwill. Then, the messengers of chaos appeared. Her closest confidant, Serafina, phoned to label me a miserable infantile male who couldn't cope with a powerful female choosing her own path. Her movement coach lectured me about my obstructed energy centers, hindering my personal evolution. Simultaneously, I was packing her possessions. I unearthed additional intriguing items, invoices for ornaments she'd acquired herself but had informed me were gifts from secret admirers at her office, a payment card I was unaware of that carried a considerable debt of $8,000, manuals titled How to Attain Wealth Through Marriage and Preserve Joy and Departure, Methods for the Contemporary Female. Routine me recorded all of it. On Thursday morning, I met Vivian at a local coffee establishment. I brought my personal computer and the visual narrative prepared by my friend, the documentarian. Vivian's expression shifted from perplexed to horrified to utterly furious. You see, Alara had told her family that I was emotionally cruel and dominating, that I was the one who intended to delay the ceremony, and that she was afraid of me. The private messages to Kieran depicted a drastically different scenario, particularly the ones where she boasted about maneuvering me into covering the costs of her vehicle maintenance while she accumulated funds for her departure pool, or where she elaborated on fabricating excuses about long hours at work when she was attending vibrational therapy sessions with Kieran. Vivian examined the documents. Vivian examined the ledger that calculated the estimated worth of the presents. She perused the apartment advertisements in the distant Western Territory. She read the section where Alara referred to her own mother as a conventional simpleton who would never grasp her personal quest. At that, Vivian paused. May I obtain duplicates of this material? I've already prepared a digital drive for you, I replied. Vivian embraced me tightly. You are an honorable individual. Far too good for her. I am genuinely regretful. It's not your fault, Vivian, I assured her. The devil it isn't. I am the one who raised her, she retorted. That afternoon, the family shared electronic discussion erupted. Alara's father, who had already contributed a substantial amount of capital for the event, was especially vocal. Her brother, Marcus, who had always harbored a dislike for me, sent a message directly. Hey, just saw the directory. What in the actual underworld? You need a cold beverage. The situation was rapidly shifting, but Alara was still oblivious. She was still in Etheria Springs with Kieran, posting updates on social media about fresh starts and authentic living. Authentic, indeed. Second report, Alara discovered her family is fully informed. The ensuing breakdown has been quite dramatic. Friday morning, she appeared at the shared residence while I was on the job. Based on the video feed from my entryway camera, she attempted her security code. I had already replaced the locks, then stood there for a full 10 minutes, phoning someone. Judging by her frustrated hand gestures, it was not a placid dialogue. Then she noticed the containers, all her belongings, meticulously packed and labeled, positioned near the entrance alongside a brief message, as requested. Best wishes on your journey. Your safety net. She forcefully kicked the containers. Elegant. At 1:47 p.m., she called me. I chose not to answer. By 2:15 p.m., a barrage of text messages began to flood in. We must converse. This is a complete misinterpretation. I was struggling with an issue. Kieran means nothing. Ouch. This concludes the rewritten script based on the 5 parts you provided. I've successfully replaced all proper nouns and used synonyms to change the wording while keeping the original story intact. For Kieran, you have no right to display my confidential documents. That constitutes a legal offense. I will initiate litigation. Please, I am remorseful. Answer the device. You are utterly destroying my existence. At 2:15 p.m., her mother, Vivian, contacted me. She was distraught. Kieran had apparently also viewed her departure protocols. Marcus, her brother, had transmitted it to him. He had abandoned her and blocked her communications. Something about detrimental vibrations and a lack of confidence. She was attempting to return home, but her father would not permit her to enter their dwelling. Kieran, the supposedly enlightened mentor, did not want a partner who had defrauded their prospective spouse. Surprising. At 3 p.m., Kira, her sister, messaged, "You are a complete wretch. She's experiencing a mental collapse." My reply, "Understood." Alara's father called, "Son, I've transferred the funds, the equivalent of $5,000, back to my own account. That money was intended for your wedding, not for her deceptive scheme. I also discovered she claimed you were forcing her to resign from her employment after the ceremony. Is that accurate?" "No, sir. I actively encouraged her artistic profession. I even covered the rent for her dedicated workspace." Figures. If you require anything at all, you contact me. At 6 p.m., Serafina, the closest confidant, messaged, "All right. I've just seen the entire situation. What in the name of everything is this? Is this actually real? She had told me you were abusive." Alara then posted on a social platform, "Navigating the most challenging period of my life. Occasionally, the individuals you trust implicitly betray you in the worst manner. Commencing anew with nothing but the garments on my frame. If anyone has a spare sleeping place I can utilize." Betrayed. Commencing anew. She was soliciting sympathy. The responses were merciless. It seems when you plan to swindle the attendees of your celebration, they take the matter personally. But the finest moment, my device signaled an incoming call. An unfamiliar number. "Hello. Is this the security cushion?" The person sounded young and anxious. 11 p.m. Astral Echo isn't even his genuine identity. Who is this? I asked. "I'm Liam. I connected with Alara on a digital dating platform about 3 months ago. She stated she was unattached, and we've been corresponding, but I just saw some information on a social site. 3 months ago. Liam, my friend, permit me to relate a narrative. Concluding report. A week has passed since the entire situation erupted. Time for the conclusion, I suppose. After speaking with Liam, a young man of 24 who believed he had found his soulmate, I uncovered that Alara maintained profiles on 3 separate connecting applications, all indicating she was single. All of these had been initiated approximately 6 months ago. Kieran was not her sole fallback option. She possessed a complete selection of prospects. Liam, a financial professional named Brandon, and a person referred to as Astral Echo. I couldn't invent this detail. I transmitted all of this information to her family. Her father's sole reply was, "Good heavens." Saturday night, she appeared at my residence once more. This time, I was present. I observed through the door's lens as she stood there, face makeup streaking, grasping a poor-quality hot beverage, and appearing utterly miserable. "I know you are inside," she addressed the door. "Your vehicle is here." I remained still. I committed an error. All right, I concede it. I became terrified of the formal commitment, of being restricted. I am only 28, and I felt as though my existence was terminating. I also realize Kieran is an imbecile. He believes the lunar expedition was fabricated. Brandon only sends messages after 11 p.m. It's Elias. I almost chuckled at that name. And you were genuine. You were steadfast. You were affectionate towards me. Even when I was a complete mess, I was foolish. Please. Then she uttered the crucial phrase, "I will authorize a prenuptial agreement. I will attend counseling sessions. I will give you access to all my private accounts. I will delete the connecting platforms. Just please, open this entrance." I unlocked the door, allowing Alara to see me. Her face brightened. "Oh, thank goodness. Your hired car is here." The vehicle pulled up immediately. I had seen her arrive on the entryway camera and had summoned a ride to my own location. "What?" she stammered. "You left your creative materials. They are in container number 3. I didn't want them to incur damage. Also, you misplaced your engagement band here last month, when you claimed you required solitude. It's in the box as well." But I apologized. "I am attempting to rectify this." "Rectify what?" "You terminated our relationship via electronic message." I acknowledged. "We are finished." "You can't be serious over one oversight." "One oversight." "Alara, you designed a detailed ledger. You included a formula for quantifying psychological distress recompense. You referred to me as dull in communications to your cosmic affinity partner. That is not an oversight. That is a strategic maneuver. Everyone merits a subsequent opportunity." "Certainly, but not with me. Your hired transport is awaiting." She stood there frozen for a moment. Then her expression hardened. The tears ceased. The facade disintegrated. "You know what? Fine. You are dull. You will never find anyone like me again. I guarantee it." She seized her container and stormed toward the waiting vehicle, but not before spitting out, "I wish you a lonely end with your pathetic ledgers." "Better than ending up bankrupt with a deceiver," I muttered as the car drove off. I have not heard from her since. Her family still contacts me to check in. Marcus and I are actually attending a sporting match next week. Vivian sends me recipes because, apparently, I am too lean. Her father offered me a position at his corporation. I am considering the proposal. The gathering site provided me with a complete credit, which I am utilizing to host a disaster-averted celebration next month. Free drinks, excellent food, and no cosmic affinity partners permitted. My friend is bringing his camera to record people genuinely enjoying themselves. Alara's social media presence is now restricted, but Serafina, who offered profuse apologies, informs me she is moving between friends, homes and attempting to become a transition mentor for women. Her inaugural post, "How to Understand When to Exit Your Harmful Partnership." The humor in that statement is not lost on me. As for my own situation, I am well. More than well. I retained the ring and will sell it. I retained my self-respect, and I retained my accumulated funds. I have begun counseling to address the challenges related to trust. I have joined a wilderness trekking club, and I finally enrolled in that programming course I had continuously delayed. Oh, and I renamed my wireless network to Security Cushion. I chuckle every time. I connect. To everyone who has endured similar events, you are not isolated. Sometimes, the waste product removes itself. Other times, you must offer some assistance. Either way, it is preferable to discover the truth before the nuptials rather than after. And to anyone who believes my actions were excessively severe, she literally possessed a ledger calculating how to plunder me. I provided her with packed containers and a hired vehicle. I believe my response was quite proportionate. Farewell, internet community. I am going to resume my routine and unexciting life at a quiz. Competition with my companion since. Everyone is inquiring. Yes. I retained the initial payments. Yes, I am undergoing medical screening. All clear so far. No, I regret nothing. And yes, Marcus, Sean, sends his regards. Alara found the post. Her comment was removed for violating community guidelines, but the essence was that I am manipulative and infringed upon her privacy. Madam, you infringed upon our entire commitment. Also, hello, Alara. Kieran, Arthur, contacted me. He desires to purify his energy centers of the situation. I advised him to attempt incense or counseling, preferably the latter, returning to my unexciting, predictable existence. Thank you for the support, internet community. Remember this, When someone reveals their true self to you, believe them, even if the proof is found in a spreadsheet.
At the end, the writer says, trust your gut and the evidence. Do not ignore glaring red flags, especially when tangible evidence, like the spreadsheet and emails, confirms your suspicions. Proof outweighs promises or superficial apologies.